Everything is good. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Angelina, and I'm your spiritual alignment coach. I was going back and listening to some of my other videos from earlier and last week, and I realized there's like a weird volume thing with the mic. So, before I start talking about anything cool, I'm just going to wait a few minutes, a few seconds, like a minute and a half, and see if the volume thing is normal and sounds good because I know if I were you listening, I would not be able to handle hearing that in and out noise. That would drive me absolutely insane. So I'll just wait a few more seconds before I start talking about something cool. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about crystals and crystal healings and how to use crystals. And I'm going to tell you guys my opinion on crystals and how to work with them and what it means to use crystals for healing. So before I get too far into that, please make sure that you like this video or any other videos that you watch that you enjoy. It helps for my videos to be seen more often and they pop up more in the algorithm. Also, make sure that you like these videos and subscribe, hitting the bell so that you get notified anytime I post a new video. Now, that's just, so that you can see my videos because I talk about a lot of really cool stuff. Okay, so today we're going to talk about this really cool crystal called Scolecite, and I'll show you what that looks like. I have a piece right here, and it's really awesome, which you might not be able to see it because of the light. Okay, let's see if I can make this work. There, you can kind of see down here, it's got some really cool streaks in it. This is a tumbled piece. So Scolecite, if you look up a picture of it, it actually has all these weird spiky things going in a million directions. And we're going to talk about what that is and why that happens in just a second. Kind of briefly, because those of you who are using crystals, what the crystals are made of is a really interesting part of things, but I'm not a geologist, but those things do exist. So if you are interested in the properties of the crystals and you want to know what they're made of and all that kind of really awesome, cool stuff, feel free to put that in the comments so that we can read it and anybody who watches these videos can read it because it is interesting. I didn't do that much because it's a lot. So before we get into what Scolecite does, why we're talking about it, why it's so awesome, I want to tell you guys a little bit about my philosophy, according to me, my philosophy on using crystals for healing. So, about a year ago, I posted a video about something called the prophecy stone. And a lot of the questions I was getting from people were about whether or not this crystal would bring their manifestations to fruition. Okay. So it's a great question, and it's definitely something that is worth talking about. So when we're talking about using crystals, what they do for us, the crystals are meant to assist us in preparing our body, our energy to receive. Okay. So this crystal is not going to heal me. It is going to assist me on my healing journey, right? It is here to help me shift my energies into a higher vibration, which is awesome, but it isn't like a magical cure all. Okay. The prophecy stone isn't going to magically make your manifestations come to light. However, it is going to help you become more positive, more grateful, releasing those negative things so you can come into alignment, all of those things. That's what the crystals do for us. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. As much as I love crystals and I believe in them and I have them and I teach people about them, I want to be clear that they're not magic in the sense of they're just going to make things happen for you. You still have to do the work. Okay, that's kind of the bottom line is there is no healing done without your permission and consent. And so these are ours to use with intention, but you have to do your part, right? And that's kind of the hard part of any type of healing, whether you're doing therapy or hypnosis or acupuncture or whatever, yoga, you still have to put in some effort, right? That's kind of what we were talking about in the earlier video, which is for everything that you receive, you have to also give in order to be in balance. Okay. So let me know what you guys think about that. This is not Angelina land, although it kind of is. You get to disagree with anything that we talk about, clarify, ask questions, put your 2 cents in. This is a safe place for you to do that. That doesn't mean we're all going to agree. It just means we get to all have an opinion, and that's awesome. And you're safe to have it. Okay, so let's talk about Scolecite. So this is Scolecite. I really am hoping that later on I can take a really cool picture of this piece because it is awesome. And you can kind of see if I turn off the video or off the light, you'll probably be able to see it way better without the glare. But this is also a piece of Scolecite that I bought the other day at the store at the same time I bought this. So also I want to say I do not sell any crystals here. This channel, everything that I do on the channel, this is a free resource for anybody and everybody. Oh, hey, it's Sarah. No worries. You're not expected to be anywhere, but I'm super excited that you're here. So, um, yeah, so this is just a piece that I bought the other day. I actually bought it for a client and then I ended up falling in love with it. And so it's going to be mine. And it's also the crystal of the week. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. So Scolecite. It's super, super awesome. So what is this crystal? What does this crystal do? So as I mentioned before, this is a tumbled version. So an untumbled version has lots of spikes in every direction and it's super awesome. I don't have a piece of that because they're really expensive. And, you know, I like having groceries and stuff. So I didn't buy that one, but I did buy this one. And I'm super excited about it. Okay, so let's just jump in. So let's talk first of all what this crystal is for. So remember, this crystal is not going to heal me without my consent or intention, right? So the very first thing that I want to do or would want to do is just kind of check in with the energy of this crystal. Now, I've already done that because I bought this crystal yesterday and I absolutely love it. This particular crystal resonates with the energy of the wind and air. So it is here to help us kind of wash away and release anything stuck. Okay. So when I hold this crystal, I automatically feel the pulling in my arms to get rid of any stuck energy in my chakras, in my meridian points, anything like that. So it's really, really cool. The other really fun fact about Scolecite is this is apparently the lucky crystal for Capricorns. So if you are like me and a Capricorn, this is a crystal that you absolutely should have in your arsenal of crystals. Now, the other thing about this is like shungite and selenite, it is not very hard. Okay, this is very easily broken. I don't want to show you that it's easily broken because I love this crystal, but it is in fact not going to be a great one to carry around all the time unless you have it like mounted in some jewelry where it's not going to get hit all the time. Now this crystal does a lot of really awesome things. And what I mean by it does a lot of things, I mean, it facilitates the energy of healing. So not just emotional healing. So as I mentioned in the live earlier, the energy of this week is all about rest. So this crystal assists us in calming down and resting. So this is a great crystal for anybody who has anxiety, depression, who kind of operates on the pendulum swing of doing too much and doing too little. This is a great crystal to help balance that. Now, from my reading, this is the yin energy. So for every yin, there is a yang, and for every yang, there is a yin. And so this is really great for bringing that kind of balance, that feminine energy. If I have it in the right order, correct me if I'm wrong, is to really bring that feminine energy, to bring in the mysterious. This is a great crystal for channeling. So if you are a medium or you do channeling work, if you do music, anything that writing, anything that requires a muse, this is going to be a great crystal for you to have around. Now, because it's so gentle and kind and compassionate, like from my experience, it's really great to have under your pillow at night. So unlike selenite, so there are people of two minds about selenite and having that in your bedroom. Everybody agrees that Scolecite is one you should definitely have under your pillow, on your bedside table, whatever, to assist you in dream recall, resting and relaxation, healing while you sleep. Because in my earlier video, right, I talk about like using sleep as a way of recuperating rather than using sleep as a way to heal. But this is a really great crystal that kind of bridges that gap and helps you to heal and sleep and rest and do all those things in an appropriate way. So it's a great crystal to have. The other thing I really like about this crystal is it's really great for healing facilitating healing. I was specific on what I'm saying, in terms of neurological and physiological conditions as well. So, if you are somebody who struggles with migraines or ringing in your ears or neuropathy, chronic pain, anything like that, this is a really great crystal to have with intention where you are, right? So if you're doing physical therapy, this is a great crystal to have in where you're at, right? If you are using a CPAP machine for sleep apnea, this is a great crystal to have around. Yeah, this crystal is like super, 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 super awesome. And it's just like so pretty. It's so gentle. Like I've had crystals before that are really aggressive. And some of us we've talked about like moldavite and different crystals like that, where it's like, you will heal. Right. I just bought another crystal at the same time I bought this crystal, which we'll talk about on another video, that is super aggressive. It is like, you will heal and I will make you heal, right? This crystal is not like that. This crystal is very gentle. It's a great beginner crystal. So, um, when we talk about buying crystals, being an expert crystal owner versus a novice crystal owner, um, right? Everybody has rose quartz, everybody has tourmaline, everybody has obsidian, right? Those crystals are great for beginners because they're very gentle, they're very nurturing, they're very compassionate. This is a crystal I would recommend to anybody who's just starting out to keep in their bedroom or wherever you read, right, where you study in your office or whatever. This is a great crystal to have for that. And obviously I'm wearing a piece, so it's not one that I can only wear for so long, like moldavite, where I can only wear it for a few hours at a time and then I got to switch it out. This crystal's not like that. Okay, let's read some comments. Yeah, it's super, super pretty. Yeah, it's perfect. So here's like a couple downsides to Scolecite, and none of them have anything to do with Scolecite specifically, but one of the downsides for me is that it's a little bit more expensive. So like this piece was $46, and it fits in my hand, which is cool, but it $46, that's kind of a lot, right? And like I mentioned, this is a tumbled version. So if I wanted to buy, oh, thank you. I just saw you look gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Um, the untumbled version is way more expensive. So like a piece that was this big that was not tumbled was like $148. So I didn't go in that direction. While it is awesome, and if I had $148 when I went to the store, I probably would have bought it. I ended up getting this piece instead. And this tinier piece, the smaller piece, was $28. So they're kind of expensive. At least they are here. So I don't know what that looks like if you bought it on Etsy or the Gem Fair, which is coming up this weekend here in Washington. It might be a little bit less, but buying it in store was a little bit pricey. So that was kind of a downside. Yeah, it's definitely one, like I said, I think every single person who's doing any sort of crystal work, any sort of, if you've got kids, this is a great crystal to have with your kids. It's not aggressive. It's not going to force you into any past life anything. It's not going to force you to do any healing. It really is just kind of a very nurturing, gentle energy. So I really like it. I would have gotten the other. Yeah. It was just expensive, right? And like if you're a crystal owner and you have a lot of crystals, and like you have all the regular crystals or whatever, you have all the common crystals, and you're starting to expand your collection and you're looking for big pieces, then Scolecite is definitely one that I would recommend in its untumbled form because it's like really a very cool crystal, but it's just pricey. Right? A house out of crystals, that'd be so cool. Like every wall was a different crystal. I don't know. So here's the other thing about crystals, you guys, and I'll just say this kind of briefly, is that every crystal has an energy, right? And not every crystal resonates with other crystals. It's like they have like their own personalities. I know that I sound absolutely insane. That's okay. But like there's definitely some crystals that don't resonate. So um I was earlier today wearing a seraphonite crystal and an emerald crystal, and they get along really great. But when I had my amber crystal on, my amber ring, as well as this crystal and my seraphonite and my emerald, it was like, I was buzzing. It was too much. So I had to take the amber off, even though amber is amazing and I love it and I wear it very often. Just in combination with the other crystals, it just wasn't working right. So I always say, like, when you're going to look for crystals and you're putting crystals by your bedside, if you have a bunch of different crystals and you add this crystal in the mix and you're like, I didn't have a good experience with it, check out what other crystals you have around. Like for me, I can't do amethyst. I love it. It's beautiful. And we have amethyst in the house. But for whatever reason, me and amethyst, we just don't jive. So there's no amethyst on my bedside, right? There's no amethyst in my crystal grids because it's just not my crystal, right? But I do have other really awesome crystals. Like a good example, I have this really cool amber tower and I love it, but for some reason it doesn't jive with Ryan, so my husband. So that one's on my bedside. He doesn't have to resonate with that when it's on the other side of the bed. So really checking in with what you've got and seeing what works together, it's going to be really important, right? We don't just willy-nilly go do stuff. We got to do it with some intention, and really making the big questions, asking those big questions. Yes. Oh yeah, Crystal House, absolutely. Yeah. I think people are learning. I think people are starting to understand that crystals are like a pretty big deal. And understanding that, man, I wish you guys could see. Hold on, I'm going to turn this light off just so I can show you. It doesn't matter what I look like. I just want to see if you can see. There we go. It's just, it's so cool. There we go. It's just so, it's so pretty. I would show you this side, but like the price tag is still on it. It's still hard to see. But that's okay. Maybe I'll add like another shorter video later on. Oh, there we go. Okay, so anyway, Scolecite is a really awesome crystal for you to have in any space in your house. It's really great for kind of making sacred space. We have a video earlier on called Making Sacred Space, and I highly encourage you to look that up if that resonates with you. If you don't know how to set sacred space, or that's like a weird thing you've never heard of, check out that video and then come back to this one. And maybe we'll do a video, and by we, I mean me. I'll do a video about how to pick a crystal, because that's kind of what this was all about. Yeah, it's got some really cool veins. I know. I wish I could show you a little bit better. You can kind of see here. But it's just, it's always how it is when I try to show people videos or pictures of crystals. It never does it justice, right? It's like, it's one of those things you really have to see in person to be like, oh my gosh. And like these types of crystals too, it's like every time you look at it, you see something new. And so it's really kind of a cool thing. So yeah, so that is Scolecite. There's so much really interesting information about this crystal. It also doesn't just come in white. It apparently comes in pink and blue and green and peach, but they had white. And white also happens to be like one of my favorite colors, so I really like it. Now, something to keep in mind when you pick a color, so like if you go to buy Scolecite and you see, oh, there's other colors, some things to think about is like, what are you using this crystal for? So what am I using this crystal for? I'm super passionate about them. That's true. Probably a little weirdo passionate, like my crystals. Anyway, so the colors do matter, right? Just like for anything. So white is a very reflective color, right? So it's going to push away any sort of negativity. This crystal is great for cleansing the aura, cleansing the body, cleansing the mind, and really keeping things at bay. So if you're really struggling right now with radical forgiveness, which is something we talked about last week, or you're working on doing your own healing or balancing, this is a great crystal to have right now, because it's really going to assist you in picking your battles, knowing when you're making mountains out of molehills, kind of what's going on with you. This crystal is going to really help bring that perspective in. The other piece of that is this week we're talking all about rest and recuperation and giving yourself time and space. This is a great crystal to have when you meditate. It's a great crystal to have in your bedroom. It's a great crystal to have when you're doing any journaling, anything like that. This is going to be a really, really good one to have, because it's not going to be like how some of my other crystals are, where it's like, hey, get your act together here. You need to get your butt in gear and do this or that. This one's just going to be like, you know what? You're loved. Even though you're having a hard time, you're loved, right? That's what this crystal, at least that's what it brings for me, is just like a really gentle, kind, compassionate sort of energy. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not doing some massive healing and shifts, and it doesn't mean that it's letting me get away with anything. Like, it's still pushing me forward. It's just doing it in sort of a more compassionate way. So this is a great time. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, if you have this crystal at home, let us know that in the comments. Excuse me. If you have any questions about this crystal, ask those questions in the comments. I realized not that long ago that I had questions in the comments from like a video I made a year ago, and I just saw them today. So, and I responded. That's the thing. I did respond. So I do my best to respond to all comments when I see them, but apparently I don't know how to use technology. So I'm learning. So yeah. So Scolecite. Questions, comments, concerns. If you have this, great. Tell us your experience. If you don't have it and you want it, let me know in the comments. I don't sell them, but I can direct you to where I bought it, which was crystal shop here in Washington called Crystal Spirit. That's kind of like my go-to place. Now, the other really cool thing is we are having the Gem Fair here in Washington State this weekend. So the 11th and the 12th, I think. 10th, 11th, 12th, maybe. So if there are a bunch of people who are super interested in Scolecite, let me know that in the comments. And maybe I can pick up some in bulk or something. I don't know. Again, my intention for these videos is to provide you all a free service. So I don't want to get too bogged down in like providing like crystals or whatever, but I do want you guys to know about these crystals because I find them really important. Okay, great question. Thanks, Scott. Hi, Scott. I hope you're doing well today. Great question. So Scott asked, is this crystal cleansed by water? So I was looking to see how to cleanse this crystal. What are the best ways to cleanse it? And I didn't actually find a definitive answer. However, I will say this. It is heat sensitive, so I would not recommend using sage or Palo Santo or anything smoke related, because whenever you have smoke, you have heat, and this crystal will like disintegrate in heat. So I don't recommend using any heat or smoke or anything like that. It is a great crystal to, sorry, my brain just stopped working, like thinking words. Okay, this is a great crystal to use to cleanse with the sun or moon energy. So you can leave this crystal on your windowsill, no problem. It'll cleanse and charge. Like with all crystals, a little breath also does wonders with it, because this is a very high vibrational crystal. So we talked in last week's video about high vibrational versus like more standardized vibrational crystals. This one's super, super high vibe. So it can take a little bit longer for it to be too bogged down. So using the breath is going to be a great way to, Okay. Using the breath is going to be a great way to cleanse this crystal. Using the sun. I don't know about water yet. Like I said, I didn't find anything that said anything about using water. That doesn't mean that you can use water. So I would wait on that one, and I'll put a follow-up in the description, the video description, when I have a more definitive answer about that. So for now, keep it away from water until I change my mind, I guess. Oh, that's all of my dogs coming upstairs to say hi. What are some other really good ways? I use a lot of like my own energy to cleanse crystals. So like I cleanse this crystal with love energy, with kindness, with compassion. Like, I don't know. I can already kind of feel like any sort of stuckness kind of resolving away. And I do that with all of my crystals. And like I use my breath with all the crystals too, because I take these crystals with me places. Like I leave them in the car or whatever. So they're working all the time, right? At any given time, my crystals are working. So I can have my breath with me anywhere. I don't always have water or spray or sage or whatever. So using the breath is the best one for me. Great question. Thank you, Scott. That's awesome. Okay, so Scolecite, this is the crystal of the week. Let me know if you have it. Let me know if you've ever used it or if you know of somebody who has used it. I know some people have some really cool different experiences with the crystals. My experience thus far has been just like super wonderful and sweet and nurturing. I have a piece that I keep under my pillow. I have this piece that I've been wearing throughout the day. Um, and so far, my experience has been nothing but like gentle and kind and compassionate. So that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure that you like this video so that I know that this is content you guys appreciate. Let me know what you guys think about this crystal. And I'm super excited to see you all next time. So stay tuned. This next week, I have a new Oracle deck. So at the end of this week, Friday, I will not only be pulling cards from my new deck, but I'll also be doing sort of a little bit of a reveal. Keeping in mind, it's not a true reveal because I've definitely gone through this deck. It's awesome, and I'm super, super excited about it. But you guys haven't seen it yet, so it'll be a new thing for us to do together. Okay. Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.